Jesus, a Novel, Chapter 6, Used Car Salesman. 11 of us converged upon Pete's place at 9 the next morning. Bartholomew was rummaging through the corner trash can, talking to himself as Jesus arrived. Without hesitation, Jesus said, "Follow me, everyone." He appeared to be in a fantastic mood, smiling and almost skipping along as we went. Our leader turned and started walking backwards down the sidewalk so he could talk with us. "Tell me what you think of this, my dear tribe. Let's say a band is playing at First Avenue tonight. As they're setting up, the bass player forgets to plug in his amp, the guitar player forgets to put strings on his guitar, and the keyboard player has inadvertently tuned his synthesizer to the wrong pitch. The drummer alone has properly prepared. He put new skins on his drums, tuned them, got just the right sticks, and put the microphones in just the right places. What will happen when they are introduced tonight and run up on stage? What kind of music will they make?" James laughed. "Yeah, we've done a variation of that after a bit too much to drink, eh, John? It sounded bloody awful, that's what it did." "So what are you trying to tell us, Jesus?" asked John. Jesus said, "The kingdom of heaven is a beautiful song. Each of you is an instrument. Each of you has a part to play. When the time comes for the song to be heard, you must be plugged in, you must have a voice to strum, you must be tuned to the conductor's pitch. As much as I love drum solos, this song was meant to be more than that. The song will not be as beautiful if you are not playing. You, whether you know it or not, have wanted all your life to play this song in this band, and you will miss out if you are not ready." He concluded, "So, my friends, tune your hearts to the key of love, plug into the source of all love, and lift your voice to the heavens. We are on a mission to bring great music to our city, to our world. The song is beginning." Jesus turned, arms in the air, as if he were directing an orchestra down the sidewalk. I could hear him humming a tune. Yeah, he was in pretty good spirits today. Maddie placed Governor Thorogood's plate in front of him at the table. 2 scrambled eggs, peppered, no salt, 1 slice of homemade wheat bread that she had baked at 5 a.m., a perfectly vine-ripened tomato, several organic strawberries cut into thin slices, a dozen blueberries, fresh squeezed orange juice with a squirt of lime, coffee with 1 ounce of 2% milk, a blood pressure pill, and a few vitamins in a saucer. "Your breakfast, sir," she said as she set the plate down and then stood at the end of the table, awaiting his next command. He said nothing. He was wearing readers, scanning the paper, occasionally squinting over the top of them at the TV across the room. A story came on about Jesus. Evidently, he had broken up a fight in a back alley after he left the Neon Cathedral last night. The police had been called and arrived as Jesus was talking a guy into putting his gun away. The governor watched, intrigued, grunting to himself. "Nuisance," he said under his breath. "An interesting nuisance." The further we walked, the more people were added to our train. It was almost starting to snake around the corner, 1 block back, when Jesus pulled into a high-end 30-floor condo building called the Paradise Tower. Our crew piled into the elevator and Jesus pushed the button for the top floor. The elevator didn't move. We waited for a few seconds. Pete was the one who said, "Jesus, you have to have an access card to get to that floor. It's private, a penthouse. Is there someone up there that you want to see?" Jesus simply thumped the 30 with the heel of his hand and the elevator started moving. Then he said, "You know, a time is coming when the rich will have nothing and the poor will own Paradise Tower. The celebrities will be begging and the beggars will be feasting on filet mignon. The religious bigwigs will be busted and simple sinners will be called righteous. Laws will be just and there will be no fear. The song will play all day and the dance will go all night." He looked over his shoulder. The story of your lives will be told to 100 generations. You may think you are insignificant, but let me tell you, that isn't even close to the truth. The last will be first and the first last. We passed floor 28. Jesus turned to face us in the elevator and whispered, "Get this, in my kingdom, slave will be governors and governors will be slaves." As the 30 lit up above the door, Jesus put his finger to his lips as if to say, "Shh." Maddie had been thinking about Jesus' challenge to ask the governor for time off, and she thought this might be her chance to jump in. She cleared her throat and started to speak, but the words got caught up. She tried again, same thing. The governor looked at her. "What? If you have something to say, say it." Maddie said, "This Jesus, I met him. In fact, a few days ago, I was crossing a street and was hit by a car. I think I may have been dead. I don't remember much, but I think Jesus healed me. I think it might have been a miracle." Anyhow, the governor jumped in. Poor Maddie. You went from free to slave to stupid. Miracles don't happen, Maddie. This Jesus, he's a scam artist. Smart people recognize that. Jesus preys on ignorant, uneducated people like you because you're easy. He finished with, "Now, little girl, you should go back to being silent." Maddie was too far in to stop, so she stumbled back into the conversation. I apologize for being so forward, but sir, this Jesus asked me to be one of his followers, his inner circle. I just thought it might be good." Again, the governor interrupted, this time with laughter. "His inner circle? Who are you kidding, girl? Jesus doesn't need you. He's making the headlines on his own just fine. Seriously, Maddie, what on earth do you think he could possibly need of you?" "I don't know. But he said he wanted me to spend my days with him." The governor, all humor gone, jumped up and grabbed her arm and swung her around. She lost her footing and fell onto the imported rug in the middle of the living room. He stood over her and said, "Get those ridiculous thoughts out of your head right now. I own you. You will show up here every morning for the rest of your life, serve me breakfast, do my laundry, clean my house, and anything else I ask you to do. If you do anything other than that, I will have the authorities track you down." He softened a bit and said with faux empathy, "Jesus doesn't want you, Maddie. Nobody does." From inside the elevator, there was a ding, and the door opened to the governor's living room. He owned the whole top floor, so the elevator was his portico. Jesus stepped out into the living room just as the governor delivered his last line, standing, looking down on Maddie. "Good morning, Governor," he delivered it with a sing-song lilt. The governor jerked around, startled by the unexpected interruption. "Beautiful day, isn't it?" continued Jesus. "I hope you don't mind us dropping in on you like this." Then he said, "Hi, Maddie. You look radiant today." Jesus reached his hand out to help her up. The governor was in shock. How did you get up here?" Jesus, "The elevator. Push the button, here we are. You might want to call security about that. Otherwise, you never know who might come knocking." Then to Maddie, "We missed you this morning, Maddie. Where were you?" She looked at Jesus, but said nothing. The governor spoke. "She was serving me breakfast like she does every day. She's my slave, not yours, Jesus. I bought her." Jesus responded, "Bought. Interesting term." Then he changed gears and said, "You know my name. I'm surprised." "For a news junkie like me, it would be hard not to know who you are." The governor softened and became a bit more amiable. "You're a bit of a phenomenon, Jesus. Somehow you've gotten everyone in the city talking about you. I'm not sure how or why, but I am curious what it is that you're up to." "Well, today, right now, I'm here to pick up Maddie. I've asked her to be one of my followers, my tribe. The governor looked surprised. Jesus continued, "You wouldn't mind lending me your slave girl for a bit, would you?" The governor looked at Maddie, then back at Jesus. I could tell he was trying to make sense of all this. He seemed to have a bit of trouble holding eye contact with Jesus, as if there was a sense of insecurity that had suddenly taken up residence in his usually confident frame. Jesus continued, "I'll make a deal with you, Governor. Since you and your political friends are so curious about me, wanting to keep tabs on me, how about you let Maddie here be your eyes on all that I do and say? She will report back to you everything she sees and hears. How about if she continues to serve you breakfast every day? A perfect time to daily appraise you of my actions. I'm guessing your underlings will love that. Plus, you will be in the know far better than others." Jesus paused. "What do you think, Governor?" The governor stared back at Jesus, trying to figure out exactly what the true motivation of this move was. One thing for sure, Maddie wasn't lying. She did know him, and he seemed to know her. And he wanted her to be part of what he was doing. Jesus, reading the governor's thought, said, "I do want Maddie to be part of what I'm doing. I have big plans for her." This made the governor shiver just a bit. Jesus walked up to him, put his arm around his shoulder, and walked him over to the glass wall that overlooked the city from his penthouse suite. Jesus motioned toward the city below. "This is your city, Governor. These are your people. But they're fragmented, confused. So many are struggling to survive. So much anger and hatred, so much fear. Many have given up, lost hope. It's not good, Governor. You have a huge responsibility, an almost impossible task. But I can help you. I plan to bring these people back to where things were in the beginning, when things were right and good, where love was the fuel, the rule, not the exception." The governor looked at Jesus and a smile crept across his face. Something was dawning on him. "Oh, I get it. Now I see why you're getting all these ignorant people to follow you. You've got a certain charm, charisma. But you see, Jesus, I'm not one of them," pointing to the tribe. "I can see through you. You're just another used car salesman trying to take people for a ride. Once they slide into your front seat, you turn on the radio, you turn on the AC, you turn on the charm. Before they know it, they've written a check to you for a car that takes them nowhere. No, sir, Mr. Fake Messiah. I'm not one of your gullible neophytes. It's going to take a great deal more than that to get me." Somewhere in the middle of that sentence, Jesus took the governor's hand and aggressively walked toward the glass wall. But he never slowed down when he got to the wall, but literally walked through it with the governor in tow. They didn't break the glass, but slid through it as if it had become a thin layer of water. Jesus walked a few more steps until they were both about 10 feet away from the building, hovering with 350 feet of nothing beneath them. The governor was freaking out, trying to run back toward the penthouse wall, but he had no traction. Then he grabbed onto Jesus' leg with a death grip. We watched as Jesus flagrantly broke the law of gravity as if it was of no consequence. Pete mumbled, "Holy shit." Judas reached out and touched the glass, feeling for a weak spot, but it was solid. After the governor quit screaming, Jesus spoke. "So I've taken you for a little ride in my used car. I've turned on the radio and the AC, maybe just a touch of charm. What do you think of the car so far?" It's good, just bring me back, please." Inside, Bartholomew started rattling off one-liners. 48 easy payments, low mileage, new tires, owned by a little old lady. What can I do to put you in this car today? Let me talk to my manager, see what we can do. That's our rock bottom price. Back outside, Jesus continued a bit sarcastically with the governor. "It's an awfully short ride, sir. Are you sure you want to go back to the dealership and write me a check so soon? Yes, yes, just please, please, put me back in my condo. The governor had his eyes closed, too afraid to look. Jesus took his free hand and put it under the governor's chin and lifted his head till he was looking into Jesus' eyes. I really do want to help you, Governor, but you have to let me. Believe it or not, I have big plans for you as well. Okay, breathing a bit more slowly now. Just please, can we go back inside? Jesus tugged on the governor's arm a bit till he was standing again. Standing on what? I have no idea. Then Jesus walked him back through the glass wall and into the living room. The governor collapsed onto the sofa. Nobody said anything. I think we were in as much shock as the governor. Governor Thorogood looked at Jesus and said, if you want Maddie, take her, please. Maddie walked into the kitchen and took another blood pressure pill from the bottle, filled a glass of water and brought it out to the governor. He popped it without questioning, finished the glass of water and said, please leave, just go. Jesus turned toward the elevator and we all piled in behind him. The door closed and he hit L for the lobby. It was around the 10th floor where Jesus started very softly chanting, Maddie, Maddie, Maddie. He started getting louder and we joined in. Maddie, Maddie, Maddie. Bartholomew was doing his own chant. Worth every penny, car of your dreams. You made the right choice. By the time we hit the lobby, it was a full-on joyous celebration. Maddie, Maddie. Somewhere between the elevator and the door to the street, Maddie jumped up on Jesus' back and he ended up giving her a piggyback ride out the front door of Paradise Tower.